The quantum resonance chamber hummed with an eerie melody as Naira Blackwood adjusted the crystalline matrix, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The Deep Space Research Station Helios had been her home for the past 3 years, but never had she encountered readings like these. "Director Reed, you need to see this," she called out, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her veins. The energy signature pulsing through her instruments defied everything she knew about quantum mechanics. The chamber's door slid open with a soft hiss as Director Reed entered, his weathered face creased with concern. "What have you found, Naira?" "The quantum field is singing." She gestured to the three-dimensional display where waves of energy twisted and spiraled in impossible patterns. "It's as if something out there is trying to communicate through subatomic frequencies." Before Reed could respond, the chamber's lights flickered and the humming grew louder. The crystalline matrix began to glow with an inner light, casting prismatic shadows across the walls. Naira's instruments went wild, their readings climbing beyond anything she'd ever seen. "Evacuate the chamber," Reed ordered, but Naira remained transfixed by the display. Something was emerging from the quantum field itself, a form both solid and ethereal, like living crystal given consciousness. The being that materialized before them stood nearly 7 feet tall, its body composed of translucent, geometric shapes that shifted and realigned with each movement. Where a face might be, there was a complex lattice of light that pulsed in rhythm with the chamber's hum. "We seek understanding asterisk." A voice resonated directly in Naira's mind, accompanied by a cascade of images and emotions. "I am Kethris, observer of the crystalline collective." Security alarms blared throughout the station, but Naira raised her hand, signaling Reed to wait. "I'm Naira Blackwood," she responded, both aloud and with her thoughts, surprising herself with the instinctive adaptation. "We mean you no harm." "Harm is irrelevant. Connection is all." Kethris moved closer, each step leaving traces of quantum energy in the air. "Your species manipulates the quantum field crudely, yet with potential. We have watched. We have waited." Reed's hand moved to his communication device, but Naira shook her head. "Director, please. This could be the first peaceful contact with a truly alien intelligence. Let me handle this." The crystalline being's form rippled with what Naira somehow knew was curiosity. "Your neural patterns are harmonious, different from others we have observed. You understand the dance of particles, the song of probability." "I've spent my life studying quantum mechanics," Naira replied, taking a careful step forward. "But I've never encountered anything like your people. Are you made of quantum energy itself?" "We are the song and the singers, the wave and the particles." Images flooded Naira's mind, vast crystalline cities existing in multiple dimensions, beings of pure energy and thought communicating across the cosmos through quantum entanglement. "Your species stands at a crossroads. Some among us believe you must be contained. Others see possibility." Reed finally found his voice. "Contained, is that a threat?" Kethris's form pulsed with what Naira interpreted as concern. "Threat is a limited concept. We offer choice, evolution or entropy." Naira Blackwood's resonance suggests compatibility. She could serve as bridge. "Bridge to what?" Naira asked, though part of her already knew the answer. The quantum field around them was changing, creating patterns she'd only theorized about in her most ambitious research. "To transformation, to understanding, to prevent the collapse of possibilities." Kethris extended a crystalline appendage toward her. "Your species approaches discoveries that could shatter reality itself. We cannot allow uninformed advancement." Security forces burst into the chamber, weapons raised. Kethris's form began to destabilize, the quantum field fluctuating wildly. Without thinking, Naira stepped between the security team and the crystalline being. "Stand down," she shouted. "We can't risk diplomatic disaster." "Time grows short," Kethris communicated. "The discovery your people approach, it comes too soon. Without guidance, it will tear spacetime apart. You must choose, Naira Blackwood, become the bridge or watch possibilities end." The security team's weapons hummed with charging energy. Director Reed barked orders. and Naira stood in the middle, feeling the weight of more than just her own future hanging in the balance. "If I agree," she said, both aloud and through the quantum connection she could feel growing stronger. "What exactly would being a bridge entail?" Asterisk union, understanding, your consciousness linked to mine, your knowledge joined with ours. Through you we guide, through us you transcend. The chamber's instruments were reaching critical levels. Decisions made in moments could echo across centuries. Naira looked at her life's work, at the security team ready to fire, at the impossible being offering an even more impossible choice. "I'll do it," she said, her voice firm despite her racing heart. "But I have conditions. This has to be a true exchange, equal partners, not master and student, and my people need to be protected, not just contained." Kethris's form stabilized, the quantum field calming around them. Acceptance, partnership, the path opens. As Naira reached out to touch the crystalline appendage still extended toward her, the chamber erupted in quantum light. She felt her consciousness expanding, touching something vast and ancient and beautiful. Knowledge flooded her mind, the true nature of reality, the songs of stars, the dance of dimensions. The last thing she heard before the transformation began was Director Reed's voice, calling her name in alarm. But she wasn't afraid. She was becoming something new, something that could save both their worlds. The quantum resonance chamber at Helios Asterisk Station would never be the same. Neither would Naira Blackwood. As her DNA itself began to crystallize, as her mind opened to the infinite possibilities of quantum existence, she knew she had chosen right. The bridge between worlds had been built. Now she just had to hope both sides could learn to cross it. 3 weeks after her transformation, Naira stood before the Earth Coalition Council, her partially crystalline form casting rainbow refractions across the chamber walls. Beside her, Kethris towered in silent support, their quantum-linked minds sharing thoughts like whispered secrets. "The crystalline collective doesn't seek to control humanity," Naira explained, her voice carrying new harmonics that made the council members shift uncomfortably. "They want to prevent a catastrophe that our quantum research could trigger." Admiral Thorne, a stern woman with steel-gray hair, leaned forward. "And we're supposed to trust the word of someone who's no longer entirely human. Your transformation makes you compromised, Dr. Blackwood." "They fear what they don't understand." Kethris's thoughts rippled through their shared consciousness. "They fear what they might become," Naira responded silently before addressing the council again. "My humanity isn't defined by my physical form, Admiral. If anything, I understand both sides better now." Professor Jun, the Coalition's lead physicist, adjusted his glasses. "The equations you've shared, they're revolutionary, if what you're saying is true about the quantum instability." "It is," Naira interrupted, projecting a holographic simulation. "Within 5 years, our current research path would have led to this." The simulation showed reality itself fracturing, space-time torn apart by uncontrolled quantum manipulation. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Naira felt Kethris's approval ripple through their bond, along with something else, a warmth she was still learning to interpret. Their partnership had grown more complex than either had anticipated. "You handle their fears with grace," Kethris observed. "It stirs unexpected resonances." Before Naira could explore that thought, Ambassador Walsh stood up. "We've received reports of other crystalline beings appearing at research facilities worldwide. Are we under invasion?" "They're observers like Kethris," Naira explained. "They're here to help establish the quantum protocols that will protect both our species. But there's something else." She hesitated, knowing the next revelation would spark more controversy. "Tell them," Kethris encouraged. "They must understand the full scope. The crystalline collective isn't just trying to prevent disaster," Naira continued. They're offering to help us evolve, to teach us how to safely navigate quantum realities. But it requires more bridges, more volunteers willing to undergo the transformation I experienced. The chamber exploded into chaos. Admiral Thorne's face reddened with anger. Out of the question, we won't allow aliens to convert our people into. Into what, Admiral? Into beings capable of understanding the universe at a deeper level. Naira's crystalline segments pulsed with emotion. I'm still me. I still feel, think, and care about humanity. I'm just more. Professor Jun raised his hand for silence. Could you demonstrate, show us what this evolution enables? Naira nodded, then closed her eyes. The quantum field around her became visible to everyone in the chamber, waves of possibility made manifest. She reached out, letting her consciousness expand through multiple dimensions, and pulled a quantum echo into reality. Suddenly, the council members saw themselves as they existed across parallel timelines, versions where different choices led to different outcomes. The demonstration lasted only seconds, but its impact was profound. That's impossible, Ambassador Walsh whispered. No, Naira replied softly. It's just the beginning of what we could learn, what we could become. They begin to understand, Kethris noted, but others approach who would stop this progression. Naira felt it too, a disturbance in the quantum field. Someone was using crude quantum technology, trying to breach the natural barriers between dimensions. The consequences could be devastating. We need to make a decision quickly, she urged the council. There are others who have discovered partial quantum manipulation. Without proper guidance, they could trigger the very disaster we're trying to prevent. Admiral Thorne's expression had shifted from anger to concern. Other nations, private organizations. Yes, the knowledge is spreading faster than we anticipated. The Crystalline Collective can help us establish safe protocols, but we need willing partners. Bridges between our species who can help guide humanity's quantum awakening. Professor Jun stood up. I volunteer. The declaration sent another wave of murmurs through the chamber. Jun removed his glasses, his hands trembling slightly but his voice firm. I've spent my life studying quantum mechanics. If Dr. Blackwood is right, and these equations suggest she is, then we need this alliance. His resonance is compatible, Kethris confirmed. Others will follow. Before the council could respond, alarms blared throughout the building. Naira's quantum senses flared with warning. Something's wrong. The quantum field is destabilizing locally. Security officers rushed into the chamber. Unknown energy signature detected in the lower labs, one reported. Some kind of unauthorized quantum experiment. Naira and Kethris shared a moment of perfect understanding. We must act, they thought in unison. Stay here, Naira commanded the council. We'll handle this. She and Kethris moved in perfect synchronization, their forms shifting partially out of normal space-time as they headed for the labs. Through their quantum link, Naira felt Kethris's growing concern. The ones who resist evolution have grown desperate, the crystalline being observed. They would rather risk destruction than accept change. Then we'll show them a better way, Naira replied, both determined and afraid. The bond between her and Kethris had become more than just a bridge between species. It was becoming something neither of them had expected, a partnership that transcended mere diplomacy or scientific cooperation. As they descended toward the chaos below, Naira realized that saving humanity would require more than just preventing quantum disasters. It would mean showing people that evolution didn't mean losing what they were. It meant becoming more than they ever dreamed possible. The question was, would they realize this truth in time? The quantum laboratory was a maelstrom of unstable energy when Naira and Kethris arrived. Professor Jun had followed them despite their warnings, his scientific curiosity overwhelming his caution. Through the chaos, they saw a figure hunched over a jerry-rigged quantum accelerator, Dr. Marcus Wade, one of the Coalition's brilliant but unstable researchers. "Marcus, stop," Naira called out. "You're tearing apart the local quantum field." Wade turned, his eyes wild with a mixture of fear and triumph. "Blackwood, so the rumors were true, you've become one of them." The makeshift device in front of him pulsed with dangerous energy. "I won't let them take our humanity. I'll prove we can master quantum mechanics without their help." "His resonance pattern is fracturing," Kethris observed through their link. "The quantum exposure is destroying his neural pathways." "We need to shut down that device," Naira responded, feeling Kethris's concern merge with her own. Their shared consciousness had grown deeper over the past weeks, emotions and thoughts flowing between them like water. Wade's machine sparked violently, reality wavering around it. "I've found the key to dimensional manipulation. We don't need alien guidance." Professor Jun stepped forward, his hands raised. "Marcus, listen to me. I've reviewed their equations. What you're doing, it's like trying to split the atom with stone tools. The risks are—" A burst of quantum energy interrupted him, warping the space between them. Wade's experiment was creating micro-tears in reality, each one threatening to cascade into a larger breach. "Together," Kethris prompted, extending a crystalline hand toward Naira. She took it without hesitation, their forms beginning to merge at a quantum level. It was the deepest connection they'd ever attempted, and Naira felt herself gasping at the intensity of it. Their combined consciousness expanded through the quantum field, seeing every possibility, every outcome. Wade's machine was worse than they'd feared. It wasn't just damaging local space-time, it was creating a resonance that could trigger quantum instabilities worldwide. "Marcus," Naira spoke, her voice carrying harmonics from both her and Kethris. "What you're feeling, this fear of losing yourself, I understand it. But look at me. Really look." Their merged form stepped forward, crystalline light dancing across partly human features. Through their expanded awareness, they projected what they were experiencing, not a loss of humanity, but an expansion of it. Wade's quantum-addled mind absorbed the images, his hands trembling on his machine's controls. How can you be sure?" he whispered. "How do you know you're still you?" "Because love remains," Naira answered, surprising both herself and Kethris with the truth of it. "Because caring about humanity, about individuals like you, that doesn't change. It grows stronger." Wade's expression crumpled. I can't stop it. The reaction's self-sustaining now." Professor Jun rushed to the machine, his scientific expertise taking over. "The containment field is failing. We have minutes, maybe less." "We can contain it," Kethris's thoughts merged with Naira's, "but the cost will be worth it," Naira completed the thought. Their merged form began to glow brighter, drawing on the quantum field itself. They could create a bubble of controlled spacetime around Wade's device, but maintaining it would require them to remain in this deeply merged state indefinitely. "Professor Jun," Naira Kethris spoke, their voice resonating with multiple harmonics, "get Marcus out of here. What we're about to do, the quantum backlash will be intense." As Jun helped the now sobbing Wade toward the exit, Naira felt Kethris's consciousness wrap around hers more completely than ever before. The sensation was beyond physical, beyond mental. It was a union of essential selves. "This joining," Kethris's thoughts whispered through her, "it is not what my people expected when we sought bridges." "No," Naira agreed as they began weaving quantum energies around Wade's failing experiment. "It's more, we're more." The machine reached critical levels, reality beginning to tear around it. Naira and Kethris, now functioning as one being, created a complex lattice of quantum fields. Their merged form became a living containment vessel, absorbing and redistributing the chaotic energies. Through their expanded awareness, they felt other crystalline beings across Earth responding, lending their strength. They felt Professor Jun's awe as he watched from the doorway. They felt Wade's breakdown turning to understanding as he witnessed their sacrifice. But most importantly, they felt each other, human determination weaving through crystalline wisdom, emotion, and logic dancing in perfect balance. The transformation that had begun as a diplomatic necessity had become something unprecedented in either of their species' history. The containment will hold, they realized together, but we cannot separate without risking another breach. Do we want to separate? The question arose from both of them simultaneously, and the answer rippled through their shared consciousness like starlight. No, this union born of crisis had become something beautiful, something neither species had imagined possible. They were neither human nor crystalline now, but something new, a true bridge between worlds. As the quantum storm subsided, contained within their merged form, they felt a new future crystallizing around them. Other humans would join with the collective, other bridges would be built, but this first union, this unexpected resonance of hearts, would show them all what was possible. Through their quantum awareness, they sensed Admiral Thorne and the Council watching through the laboratory's monitors. The evidence was undeniable now. Humanity's evolution wouldn't be a loss of identity, but a transcendence of it, a joining of spirits that made both species more than they had been alone. In the quiet after the crisis, their merged consciousness reached out to the stars, singing a new song to both their peoples. A song of transformation, of union, of love that transcended form and physics alike. The bridge between worlds had become a bridge between souls. News of Naira and Kethris's permanent merger spread across both civilizations like quantum fire. For some, it was proof of evolution's potential. For others, it was the final warning sign of humanity's extinction. Professor Jun, now partially crystalline himself, worked tirelessly to bridge the growing divide. But in the shadows, forces gathered against them. The quantum field is destabilizing again, Jun reported to the merged being that was once Naira and Kethris. But this time it's deliberate. Someone's using Wade's research. Their crystalline human form shifted, prismatic light dancing across the laboratory walls. We sense it too, multiple locations, coordinated attacks. Admiral Thorne burst into the room, her usual composure shattered. We've identified the group. They're calling themselves Pure Earth. They've taken control of quantum research facilities in 12 countries. Through their expanded consciousness, Naira Kethris could feel the damage spreading. Each illegal quantum experiment sent ripples through reality, creating a web of instability that threatened to tear apart the fabric of space-time. They don't understand, the merged consciousness thought. They think they're saving humanity, but they're risking everything. Director Reed, now their strongest ally on the council, pulled up a global display. They've issued demands, immediate removal of all crystalline beings from Earth, and the restoration of transformed humans to their original state. That's impossible, Jun protested. The quantum changes are fundamental. You can't just undo them without destroying us, Naira Kethris completed. They know this. It's not about restoration, it's about fear. The quantum disturbances were growing stronger. Through their enhanced senses, they could feel other crystalline human pairs across the globe struggling to contain the damage. Each new breach weakened the barriers between dimensions. We could stop them, the part that was once Kethris suggested. The collective has the power to forcibly prevent quantum manipulation. But that would prove their fears right, the part that was once Naira responded. We'd be controlling humanity, not helping it evolve. Jun's crystalline segments pulsed with sudden alarm. They're targeting the quantum harmonics. If they disrupt the frequency that allows our transformations. Pain lanced through every transformed being on Earth. Naira Kethris's form flickered, their merged consciousness struggling to maintain cohesion. Around the globe, other human crystalline pairs felt their bonds starting to tear. It's Walsh, Thorne realized, checking her communications. The ambassador's been working with Pure Earth from the beginning. He's using the diplomatic quantum channels we established to attack the transformations themselves. Through the agony of their bond being tested, Nyrokethris reached out to the other pairs, creating a network of shared strength. They could feel Jun adding his power to theirs, and then others, dozens of successfully transformed pairs lending their energy to maintain the quantum harmony. But pure Earth's attack was spreading. Reality itself began to groan under the strain of unauthorized quantum manipulation. They were approaching the very disaster the crystalline collective had come to prevent. We have to show them, Nyrokethris decided. Not just tell them, show them. Using the combined power of all transformed pairs, they reached into the quantum field and opened a window, not to other dimensions, but to the truth of what was happening. Every human on Earth suddenly saw the quantum strings that held reality together, saw how pure Earth's actions were unraveling those strings. More importantly, they felt what the transformed pairs felt. Not loss of humanity, but expansion of it. Not slavery to alien minds, but partnership with them. Love, growth, and potential radiating through the quantum field. For a crucial moment, humanity stood on the brink. Understanding dawned in millions of minds simultaneously. Fear wrestled with hope. The future itself held its breath. And in that moment, in quantum research facilities around the world, scientists looked at what they were about to unleash. They saw the truth. One by one, the unauthorized experiments shut down. But Ambassador Walsh wasn't finished. As his plans crumbled, he triggered a final failsafe, a quantum cascade designed to forcibly separate all transformed pairs. The agony hit like a supernova. Hold on, Nyrokethris thought to their fellows around the world. We choose this unity, it cannot be taken from us. The pain was incredible, but their love was stronger. Across the Earth, transformed pairs held onto their bonds through sheer will, their combined resistance creating a new quantum harmony that Walsh's weapon couldn't break. When the attack ended, humanity had seen too much to turn back. The transformed pairs remained unified, their bonds stronger for having been tested. But the trial wasn't over. As Walsh was taken into custody, his final words chilled them all. You don't understand, I had to do it. They're coming. The ones who oppose evolution itself, and now they know we're ready. Through the quantum field, Nyrokethris felt it, a vast consciousness stirring among the stars. Ancient, powerful, and completely opposed to the path their two species had chosen. The real war for evolution was about to begin. They came like living darkness between the stars, the void collective, ancient enemies of evolution itself. Their quantum signature was an anti-song, a discordance that threatened to unravel everything the human crystalline pairs had built. They've been waiting, Professor Jun explained to the emergency council session. Watching to see if humanity would accept the transformation. We're not their first targets. Nyrokethris, their merged form now a perfect blend of human and crystalline aspects, projected images of dead worlds, civilizations that had been forcibly devolved, their quantum potential locked away. The Void Collective believes complexity leads to chaos. They enforce stagnation across the galaxy. Admiral Thorne, who had become their strongest military ally, studied the tactical displays. How long do we have? They're already here, Jun's crystalline segments pulsed with worry. The quantum field is registering distortions throughout the solar system. They're ships. They move through dimensions we barely understand. Through their expanded consciousness, Nyrokethris could feel the enemy's approach. But they could also feel something else, hope, radiating from every successfully transformed pair on Earth. Fear wrestling with determination in the minds of unchanged humans. The crystalline collective gathering its strength among the stars. We are not alone, they announced, their harmonized voice carrying through the chamber. And we will not be forced backwards. The first attack came at dawn. Void ships appeared in Earth's atmosphere, their presence causing reality itself to shudder. They broadcast a simple demand: separate, devolve, or be unmade. But humanity had seen too much, grown too much, to surrender its potential. As the Void Collective opened fire with quantum-disrupting weapons, the transformed pairs joined their consciousness into a vast network. creating a shield of unified thought and energy around the planet. Professor Jun coordinated the unchanged humans, his partial transformation letting him bridge the gap between old and new. Military forces under Thorn's command worked alongside crystalline beings, defending what they had built together. The battle raged across multiple dimensions. The void ships tried to isolate Earth from the quantum field itself to cut off the energy that sustained the transformations. But they hadn't counted on the strength of the bonds they were trying to break. They don't understand, Nyrokethris realized as they helped maintain the quantum shield. They've never encountered love like this. Through their network of shared consciousness, they felt other pairs reaching the same conclusion. The Void Collective saw connection as a weakness, complexity as a flaw. They had never imagined that joining could make beings stronger. Jun's voice crackled through their quantum link. The shield is holding, but they're adapting. We need something more. We need to show them what they've forgotten, Nyrokethris decided. All across Earth, other pairs caught their intention and began to align their energy. Together, they reached into the quantum field not to attack, but to connect. They extended their consciousness toward the void ships, offering not resistance but understanding. Love, growth, the joy of becoming more than you were. The Void Collective recoiled at first, their ships attempting to retreat from the unfamiliar sensation. But the transformed pairs pressed forward, surrounding them with the truth of what evolution could be. And then something extraordinary happened. Deep within the void ships, ancient beings who had forgotten their own potential began to remember. The anti-song faltered. The attacks stopped. Through their quantum connection, Nyrokethris and the others felt the confusion rippling through the Void Collective. What? What have we been doing? The question echoed across dimensions. What did we forget? You forgot that growth isn't just about power, Nyrokethris broadcast back. It's about love, connection, becoming more together than we could ever be alone. The transformation that swept through the void ships was like watching ice melt in spring. Beings who had dedicated eons to preventing evolution suddenly experienced their own potential again. Their ships, designed to enforce stagnation, began to crystallize and change. As the sun rose over Earth the next day, the transformed pairs felt a new song in the quantum field, the Void Collective, now remembering its original purpose, adding its own harmony to the universal chorus. Professor Jun, watching the crystalline ships now dancing with light, smiled. Evolution isn't just physical, is it? It's about the heart. It always was, Nyrokethris replied, their merged form glowing with joy. Around them, humanity was already changing, growing, reaching for its next stage of development. The crystalline collective was evolving too, learning new ways of connection from their human partners. And somewhere in the quantum field, in the space between thought and energy, between individual and unity, love continued to transform everything it touched. The bridge between worlds had become a bridge between all forms of life, all kinds of consciousness. The future stretched out before them, infinite in its potential. And in the harmony of transformed minds reaching together toward that future, they found the truth they had always sought. Evolution wasn't about becoming something else. It was about becoming more truly what you always were, together.